Hello everyone and welcome to my talk. I am happy to present our new device for dimensioning mounts for the display of books. The display of books has a long tradition at the Bavarian State Library. As a treasure trove of cultural heritage, the Bavarian State Library's unique collection is characterized by extremely precious manuscripts, rare printed books, and comprehensive special collections from thousands of years of cultural heritage. Prior to the pandemic, we usually displayed about 100 books each year, both in our own exhibitions and as loans in other institutions worldwide. Hopefully, we can do this again soon. Whenever we display a book in an exhibition, we want to do it in the best possible way, both for the book itself as well as for the viewer. Here, a well-fitting book mount is the key to a safe and convincing presentation. When we look at this opening cunabula on display, the book does not reveal how many steps are necessary to prepare its presentation. The made-to-measure mount is well-fitting and unobtrusive. As intended, it does not disturb the visual impression of the book. Unlike a closed book lying flat on a table, an open book on display does not stay in the intended position by itself. That's why a support is necessary. This is even more true if the open book is to be inclined. An inclined mount helps to view the book more easily, comparable to a reading situation. On the other hand, the mechanical stress on the different parts of the book increases. In order to reduce the mechanical stress, an optimal book mount must support the three-dimensional shape of a displayed book. Only a perfectly fitting book mount fulfills this requirement, and here a made-to-measure book mount helps best as it follows exactly the book's external shape. We therefore manufacture each book mount individually regarding the pages on display, the opening angle, and the tilt angle. In the case of loans, borrowers are asked to do the same in their exhibition. Now, the crucial point in preparing a book mount is measuring the dimensions of a book precisely and in the intended position. Therefore, if we want to tilt a book on display, we need to measure the dimensions in a tilted position. To meet this requirement, we upgraded our previous dimensioning device. This image shows our evolved device. We use the upper part for measuring the dimensions of an open book. It is made of acrylic glass and it is mounted on a tiltable platform. We can adjust the platform according to the intended tilt angle of the display situation. The instrument has two individually movable supporting plates. We can adjust both plates independently from a vertical to a flat position according to the specified opening angle. Usually a book on display is centered vertically. Then both supporting plates are set to the same angle to the vertical. We also can set both plates to different angles. For example, one side is flat and one is tilted. Both supporting plates have two curved splints on their bottom. The drain holders mounted on the platform. The splints are perforated in 5-degree intervals. A spring-loaded pin secures the supporting plates and can be easily released. For safety reasons, each support plate is locked twice. The height of the open book can be measured with the scale mounted close to the hinge of the plates. The pane attached to the front serves as a stop for the book boards. The transparent material allows to see the tail profile of the book in its open position. This is very helpful when deciding on the shape of the mount. Scales at the front edge of the supporting plates help to measure the width of the book boards and accordingly the width of the supporting plates of the mount. With an additional ruler, we measure the thickness of the book boards and the shape of the book's spine. If we want to tilt the book, we need further dimensions. Most of all, the width and the depth of the tail ledges, which prevent the book from slipping. When tilting a book on display, we need to consider another important detail. When lying flat, the dimensions of a book sometimes differ from the dimensions of the same book in a tilted position. In this image, we can see that the book lying flat is 102 millimeters thick. The same book, open at the same page, and tilted to an angle of 45 degrees is 114 millimeters thick. The thicker, the bigger, and the less compact a book is, the more the dimensions differ. Of course, this affects the dimensions of a book mount. To account for this effect, our new device allows to tilt the platform with the adjustable supporting plate. The platform frame is made from aluminum profiles and can be moved with 4 steerable and individually lockable caster wheels. The platform surface is melamine coated. The inclination can be adjusted up to the vertical position with a crank. 2 gas pressure springs hold the weight of the construction. Also, 2 splints are perforated in 5-degree increments. The desired position of the platform is secured by spring-loaded pins. The transparent material allows to view the book from all sides. This helps a lot when we have to measure the dimensions and positions of bosses, clasps, or other elements on the boards. A new feature makes it easier for us to measure an open book in a tilted position, and thus allows to measure exactly the dimensions needed for a well-fitting book mount. Now, when preparing a book mount, we not only need to measure the dimensions, we also need to record them. In the second part of my talk, I would like to present our form, which we call Munich Dimensioning Form oder Münchner Messformular. We use the form to record all the dimensions necessary for manufacturing a book mount in a clearly structured way. The dimensions are applicable to the Munich book mount and to any other type of book mount construction and any material that is suitable for conservation purposes. The book mount thus can be adapted to any exhibition design or display situation. The form starts with the general information of the book on display, such as shelf mark, title, date, and location of the exhibition. Below, in part 1, we record the dimensions for the supporting plates of a book mount. which are the most important part of the mount. We also specify the maximum opening angle and the weight of the book, which must be taken into account when choosing the material and the construction of the mount. All dimensions are illustrated in a sketch. Code letters are assigned to the individual dimensions. When measuring the supporting plates of the book mount, we record the height and the width of the book covers, letters A and B, and the shape and width of the spine, letters C and D. Additional dimensions, letters E to G, can also be recorded. In part 2, we select the shape of the mount, which follows best the open book shape. The sketches indicate the position of the two supporting plates in relation to each other and show a cross-section of the mount. For a flat book mount without inclination, we only need the dimensions in the first two parts. In part 3, we collect the dimensions for the tilted book mount and we specify the maximum tilt angle. If we decide to incline the book mount, it may be necessary to support the text block with a tail ledge. For a tilted mount, we measure the thickness of the open book on the book mount and the width and height of the tail ledge. We also may record the thickness and the height of the edges of the book boards. Depending on the presentation, books take up different amounts of space in the showcase. In part 4, we record the dimensions of the open book on top of its mount. We estimate both the required space for a flat or a tilted presentation at the maximum opening angle and the maximum tilt angle. The form is available for download in English and in German on our website. You are invited to download the form. Please use these links. The new device and form proved to be extremely useful for preparing an exhibition. The dimensioning of mounts is particularly precise, and the resulting book mounts perfectly fit to the books. The form supports administration, documentation, and communication in the whole process. And we hope they will be useful for everyone concerned with the display of books. I would like to thank the WIADA board warmly for organizing this conference. And I thank you all for your interest in my presentation. I'm now looking forward to your comments and questions.